keynote speaker, who is Dr. Tiffany Harris, a devoted wife and mother who wears many hats. She's not just an in-demand, international, award-winning inspirational speaker. She's also a coach, a mindset coach, a mentor, and a three-time author. She has a growing consulting company called Shift Your Mindset and Dream Big, LLC. That sounds good, doesn't it? With 2 prestigious Changemaker of the Year awards under her belt, she's also a Business Grammy nominee, a Faith Made Millionaire nominee, and an alum of the Ignite Speakers program developed by the one and only Lisa Nichols. Beyond those titles, Dr. Harris is the visionary behind Win Women Empower, a global women's membership community. Her mission is to empower individuals worldwide to transform their mindset, allowing them to reach new heights in all aspects of their lives, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. At the core of Dr. Harris's philosophy lies the belief that shifting your mindset can also alter the course of your life. Get ready to soar, scale, and succeed with Dr. Harris leading the way.
Good, everything went well. She spoke well, with intelligence, courage, and she really gave a positive message to all the 8th graders that's about to go to high school now. So they should take that into keep a mental note of that. When they return to school, they'll be fine.
It was a really good and powerful message. Everybody really thought that it was good. I was looking around the room to see how everybody's reaction was, and they had very a strong emotional and agreement into the speech. And even my ELA teacher, she was taken aback and she loved it, and I know Miss Newkirk loved it. She doing amazing actually, and the speech was top 10 out of 10.
Dr. Harris's speech was so wonderful. It was so inspirational. I think the children are going to really listen to what she had to say and keep it in their minds while they're going through high school. I know my granddaughter will keep it in mind, and I really was inspired listening to her.
Nice person. She really inspired me, and when she gave us these wristbands, teaching us thorough, and her favorite, not her favorite color, but she wear a lot of red. And yeah, I like red.
I feel like she was very genuine and very, still where I'm looking for, very inspiring. And when she talked about her past, it inspired me to do better. And that's what I just loved about the whole speech and what she brought to the table.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Morning Tea with Dr. T. I am so excited that you are here. You have decided to start your week off right here on this live show. I appreciate all of you. Listen, you are here, so we need to make sure that everybody that knows where you are so that they can come over and experience this faith-filled, flavored type of tea. So if you have not done so already, please go ahead and share this live with all the women, all the men, all of the communities that you know, so that they do not miss this live show on today. Welcome, Praise Lady. Welcome in. God bless you. So glad to see you here this morning. Welcome, all of you. And so, go ahead and share. Go ahead and tag them. Go ahead and call them. Text them, do all the things that you need to do so that they do not miss out. And so if you see me looking to the side, it's because I'm on TT, and it's a certain page that I was trying to get up, and there it is. I wanted to get my sounds up. There it is. There are my sounds. So I have it up now. Thank you so much for the reposting. I appreciate all of you. Listen, I tell y'all, I have a special place for the weekend crew and the Monday morning crew. I know how hard it is to get up, to get ready, and get back into the flow of things. And the fact that you decided to start your week off, start your Monday off at 6:05 a.m., 7:05 a.m. with me, that means a lot. So shout out to all of you. All right, so let me go ahead and shout you out individually on the individual platforms, because we're on 6 platforms now. Somebody put 6 platforms in the chat, right? 6 platforms. So let me start right here. My screen to my left is TT. Good morning. God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. My screen right here in the middle is FBIG, and this is where we have expanded to the other 2 platforms, which is Twitch and Kick. Good morning. God bless you. Thank you all for being here. And my screen right here to my right, that is YTube. Good morning. God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. Now, every day we have new individuals who come through. And so, just in case somebody does not know, or if you forgot, I can see your comments in real time right here to my left on TT and to my right on YTube. I can see your comments right there. Now, if you want me to see your comments in real time, and if you want me to pin your comments across my screen here, come over to my YTube channel, right? My YTube name, thank you everybody, is Mindset Shift with Tiff, okay? Come on over there. I can see you. I can see your comments. I can add it to the bottom of my screen here for the live show, all right? So if you prefer to stay where you are, that is fine. You do not have to switch platforms. I just want to let you know that you have options, okay? Y'all put in the chat, I have options. All right, that's it and that's all. All right. So, welcome in to those of you who are just coming in. Welcome to Morning Tea with Dr. T. This is where mindset, leadership, and purpose meet. I am your host, Dr. Tiffany R. Harris, the mindset architect for limitless success. And what's going to be happening here is just for a few minutes. Y'all know what's going to happen. I see you, Takara. I see you, Praise Lady. They said, I have options. I'm going to be pouring a little bit of mindset into your morning. And if that's all right, go ahead and type that's all right in the comments. Put that's all right in the comments. I love to see it. All right. So, oh, wait, hold on. Let me put this, let me pin. All right. So someone on Y2 put in the comments, so I had to switch screens and pin their comment. I told y'all I'll be working hard for y'all. I told y'all. Thank you, Praise Lady said that's all right. Takara said that's all right. And Desi B said happy Monday, everyone. Let's pin that as well. And I just pinned Lbug HZ1 said good morning, Dr. T. And then Lbug HZ said I have options. Yes, you do. Let's pin that comment as well. Okay. All right, y'all. So make sure after you're done sharing, texting, calling, tagging, all those things, make sure you go and you grab your pen, grab your notepad or your iPad so that you can take copious notes. Okay. And so some of you know, and if you don't know, hi Millie, welcome, Millie B, welcome in. Good morning. So we have been doing, so this episode, by the way, is episode 144, y'all. Somebody put 144 in the chat. This is episode 144. And for season 2, not only do we have a theme for season 2, which is the invisible life, we also have many leadership series that we've been doing. And this is the second mini leadership series, and it's called The Decisions Leaders Don't Talk About. And in every mini leadership series, it's 5 episodes, okay? So today is episode 4 of 5 of that mini leadership series, all right? And what we're going to be talking about today is when your decisions make you the bad guy, okay? And so I told y'all I've been in leadership for 20 years. And so with these leadership series, I get to share with you things that aren't talked about enough, right? And things that leaders experience, things that leaders go through, things that leaders think about, right? And decisions that leaders have to make in the outcomes. And so we're going to be talking about when your decisions make you the bad guy. So that's today. And then our scripture that we're going to reference is Proverbs 15:1. Okay. So make sure you have your pen, your notepad, your iPad, and then also get your tea, get your coffee, get your smoothie, your protein shake, whatever it is that you are drinking on this morning. I see y'all with y'all 144 is in the chat. I appreciate you. All right. So also with season 2 rather, I'm also giving you a leadership philosophy. And so I want you to go ahead and write this down. Here's today's leadership philosophy. You are responsible for the integrity of your decision, not everyone's interpretation of it. Right? You are responsible for the integrity of your decision, not everyone's interpretation of it. Okay? All right. So go ahead and put that in the chat and put it in your notes. All right. And I see you on YTube. I see your 144s. L Book HZ put 144. Yeah, I'm so excited. Andrea said, Leandra checking in from Troy, New York. Welcome. We appreciate you for checking in and for being here. Okay. And so I like to remind you all, and then those of you who have not been here, to let you know what happens here. So every morning we gather to strengthen our mindset, to deepen our faith, and to develop the leadership required to become everything that God has called us to be, right? Put in the chat, I want to become everything that God has called me to be. Welcome, Kimar, right? And so we're continuing our series, like I told you a couple minutes ago, the decisions leaders don't talk about, right? And so we talked about when the right decision still hurts. You all remember that? We've talked about when loyalty and leadership collide, right? And why you can't save every relationship, right? And so if you've been here, you should have this in your notes. And by the way, if you've missed any of the episodes, all of them are on my YouTube channel, which is Mindset Shift with Tiff. So today is episode 144, 144. You can go back and binge watch once this is over, and all the other episodes going all the way back to episode 1. It's there, okay? All right. And so today we're talking about when your decisions make you the bad guy, okay? And so what happens when you believe you've made a responsible decision, but someone else experiences or tells the story differently, right? And let me just explain something to you, because some people may say, well, Dr. T, I'm not a leader. I don't have a business. I told you all yesterday and the day before, and since we've been doing these leadership series for the past about month or two now, you are a mother, you are a father, you have an organization, you are in a management role or position, right? You have a foundation, you have a nonprofit, you are a leader in so many different ways, okay? All right, so I just needed to put that out there. And so, again, what happens when you believe you've made a responsible decision, but someone else experiences or tells the story differently? And then those of you who have ministries, yes, you are a leader, right? So what happens? Do you keep explaining? Do you defend yourself? Or do you accept that sometimes leadership means being misunderstood, right? And so here's where I want to start. You can have good intentions, Takeda, and somebody can still be hurt, right? And you can believe you communicated clearly, Leandra, and somebody can experience it differently. And that's why mature leaders don't immediately say, oh, they misunderstood me, right? First, I want you to ask, is there something here I need to hear, right? And so maybe your decisions was necessary, but your delivery could have been better. Maybe you needed to communicate earlier. Maybe there's something you need to own. That's leadership, right? And so what I wanted to do with these leadership series and what we've been doing is looking at it from the perspective of a leader and the perspective of the individuals or groups of people you have to have these conversations with, right? And so I can remember there was a company, I was a director of 2 of their programs, and there was someone who I had to make a decision to, what did they call it back then? Disciplinary action, because of her lack of performance. And in retrospect, I realized instead of giving her grace and time after time after time and chance after chance and more time, I should have addressed it earlier, right? Instead of just saying, okay, you know what, let me just, she's going to get it together. But time had went on and she still was underperforming. Reports were not getting submitted. I had to step in and do the work. My assistant directors had to step in and do the work, right? So I could own that, right? So sometimes as leaders, there's things that we have to own, right? That's leadership. Now, after you've reassessed the performance if there's a conversation after you've listened, after you reflected and taken responsibility for what belongs to you, I want you to understand this. You cannot control another person's interpretation of your decision. I can remember another young lady I had to have a conversation with, and I had been, communicating with her, giving her the opportunities to correct her performance. And when I had to make the final decision to let her go, and she said, "Oh, you supposed to be this is exactly what she said. Oh, you supposed to be a woman of God. You supposed to be all for women. You don't care about me." Right? Yeah, that was a response that I got. So again, you cannot control another person's interpretation of your decisions. And so I want you to write this down. Welcome, Bella. You are responsible for the integrity of your decision, not everyone's interpretation of it. Right? If you were here live, put in the chat, I am responsible for the integrity of my decision, not everyone's interpretation of it. Right? And if you come back and you're watching the replay, go ahead and put replay in the chat, right? Takara said, Scripture teaches us to seek forgiveness and reconciliation when we've wronged or offended someone. I'm going to pin your comment, Takara. Thank you for your comment. Right? And so you're responsible for the integrity of your decision, not everyone's interpretation of it. That doesn't mean you don't care what people think. Healthy leaders listen. Healthy leaders remain teachable. Healthy leaders apologize when necessary, right? But, L-Book HC, you cannot build your leadership around making everybody agree with you or making sure everybody agrees with you, right? And so eventually leadership will require a decision that somebody doesn't like, right? And Bella, if disagreement doesn't automatically mean that you were wrong. Yeah. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about knowing when you've explained enough. And so sometimes you need to explain, right? If someone directly affected needs clarity, then communicate, right? Now, if you created confusion, then go ahead and clarify. If you made a mistake, own it. That's leadership. That's mature leadership. Put that in the chat. That's mature leadership, right? But there comes a point where when you've already explained, right? And now you're explaining your explanation because you're trying to get somebody to see you differently. But as leaders, this is what I want you to ask yourself. Am I communicating for clarity, or am I trying to control their perception of me? Yeah. And so you can clarify. You cannot force agreement, Desi B. Right? And so Proverbs 15:1 says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Right? Now listen, I need all 10 of y'all to hear me clearly. Sometimes you should respond, but how you respond matters. Right? So you don't have to match somebody else's emotion. And listen, let me tell y'all, like I said, 20 years in leadership, from being a supervisor at a drug and alcohol facility to a psychiatric rehabilitation facility to a behavioral health facility to having my own company. I have an LLC, Shift Your Mindset and Dream Big. And under that, there's so many different entities. Let me tell you something about matching energy. I'm trying to tell you, when that lady said, "Oh, you don't care about me, and you supposed to be a woman of God, and you supposed, and I see you on social media, and you supposed to care about women. I'm human, y'all. Come on, I'm human. Everything. Bella, praise lady. I was hot on the inside, cause the flesh wants to, what I don't know what the kids say, pop it. I don't know, snap. I don't know. The flesh wanted to, match the energy. Like, let me tell you something. Okay. But mature leadership, y'all. But mature leadership. I understood the emotions, right? I understood that she was hurt, right? I understood that. So there was no need to try to match her emotion. And outside of that, I've grown so much in leadership over the years, right? And then maybe in year one, about 19 years ago, my role as leadership, you may have gotten something different, right? We did all that. Yep. Praise Lady said I would have said why I have to make the decision. Yes. And so we did all that, Praise Lady. We had so many conversations with her, so many opportunities for her to get it right. And at that point, I would have been explaining the explanation. We had already went there. So I let her get that off her chest. I didn't respond, and I probably said, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but my intention is not to, hurt you. I can't remember exactly what I said, but my point is to say I didn't match her energy, right? And so you don't have to become defensive, and I didn't. And you don't have to reveal private information just to prove that you were right, right? And so your response is still part of leadership, right? Put that in chat. My response is still part of leadership, okay? And so sometimes things other people don't. The conversations, what happened behind closed doors. And so I told her it was just myself and my assistant director. We're the only ones that know what happened. We're the only ones that know, the courses of action we took to try to support her in her role so that we would see different behaviors and different outcomes. Right? We know the conversations. And you may think, well, if everybody knew what I knew, they would understand. Because when people leave and they're disgruntled, and she did this before she left, she was on the floor saying all these things, and I had to escort her out, all these things, right? But you don't have to go back and tell other people, your private conversations and courses of action, right? So and sometimes in leadership, people think, well, if everybody knew what I knew, they would understand. I'm not going to go there and stand on the floor and tell everybody else, well, let me tell y'all what happened upstairs. Let me tell you the conversations we've been having with her. No, you don't have to expose somebody else to defend yourself, right? And so ask what actually needs to be said, not what can I say to make myself look right. That's restraint, right? And that's leadership. Okay. And so accountability and confidence can coexist. And so before saying they're making me the bad guy, I also want you to check yourself as leaders. Praise Lady said amen, right? Also check yourself as leaders. Did I communicate clearly? Was I respectful? Did I listen? Is there something I need to own, right? One of the things that I can pride myself on and that people tell me all the time, wow, you're such a great listener, right? Even if what you're saying is not making sense, even if I know what I'm hearing, you're not taking accountability, I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to what you say, and I'm not going to interrupt you, right? And so, but take ownership. What I want you to go back and reevaluate the conversations, right? And here's where the maturity comes in. Praise Lady said, yes, that's leadership. Let me pin that. And here's where the maturity comes in. You can stand by your decision and still acknowledge that you could have handled part of the process better if that was the case, right? So those things can coexist. And so maybe the decision wasn't wrong. Maybe something about the process needed improvement, right? And I told y'all with one of my staff, right, we had to give her a disciplinary action. That decision wasn't wrong, but the process that needed improvement was addressing it earlier on in her role, right? And so learn from the lesson without automatically abandoning the decision. The decision is still the decision. Now, as leaders, take accountability for the process if there's something that needs to change, right? And so, like I told you, I've been in leadership for 20 years. And so leadership has taught me that being understood by everybody cannot be my measurement of whether I'm leading well. And I want to say that to you all. Being understood by everybody cannot be your means of measuring whether or not you are leading well. Okay? So I want to communicate clearly. I want to treat people with dignity. I want to remain teachable. And when I get something wrong, I want enough humility to own it, right? Put in the chat, God, give me enough humility to own it, right? But I also know I cannot spend all of my energy managing everyone's perception of the decision that I made. Y'all know how many sleepless nights I would have had over the past 20 years if I did that? And so sometimes I have to examine myself and make whether correction belongs to me and continue moving forward, right? And so integrity doesn't require everybody to agree with you. It requires you to remain accountable for how you lead. Put that in the chat. I will remain accountable. Thank you, Forever Love, with how I lead, right? And before I go ahead and give you and go to the leadership check-in, let me come over to Y2 because I see it's lit up in over here. Pastor Avery said, Avery will become everything God has called me to be. And she also said, my response is still part of leadership. Yes, 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 yes. Amen. Thank you so much. Queen Zena said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Absolutely, Queen Zena. Queen Zena said, my response is still part of leadership. Yes, it is. Thank you so much. All right, so I had to come over. I was over here and I was pinning the comments over here on YTube, and I didn't pin the comments over here. I'm sorry, I was pinning the comments on TT, and I wasn't coming over, and I wasn't pinning the comments over here on YTube, so I had to come over here to YTube. Okay, so now let me ask you. No, this is what I want you to ask yourself because this is your leadership check-in. This is your application. So I want you to ask yourself 3 questions, okay? 3 questions. Is there something in the criticism I genuinely need to hear? Right? That's the first question I want you to ask yourself. Is there something in the criticism I genuinely need to hear? Okay. The second question I want you to ask yourself, have I communicated what actually needs to be communicated? Have I communicated what actually needs to be communicated? Okay. And here's the third question I want you to ask yourself. Am I seeking clarity or trying to control how someone sees me? Am I seeking clarity or trying to control how someone sees me? Right? So listen, if you've listened, own your part and communicated what needs to be communicated, you may have reached the point where you need to release the rest. That's it, right? And so people may see your decision, they may even hear someone else's version of it. And what they don't always see is your prayer, your reflection, your accountability, or what you've intentionally chosen not to disclose. That's the invisible life, right? And so sometimes integrity is demonstrated by what you refuse to say, even when saying it could make you look better, right? And so let me go ahead and give you today's takeaways. Here's your first takeaway. Listen before assuming you're simply misunderstood. That's your first takeaway. Listen before assuming that you're misunderstood. Okay? The next thing, explain for clarity, not to control perception. Explain for clarity, not to control perception. Okay? Your next takeaway, you don't have to expose somebody else to defend yourself. Put that in the chat. I don't have to expose somebody else to defend myself. Okay? And here's your last takeaway. You can own what you could have done better and still stand by your decision. You can own what you could have done better and still stand by your decision. Okay. And here's one of the biggest things I want all of you to remember. You don't have to win every version of the story to walk in integrity, right? All right. And so I pray that God gives you wisdom when your decisions are misunderstood. And I pray that God helps you listen without becoming defensive. And I pray that he shows you what belongs to you, right? And where you need to apologize, and I pray that he gives you humility. And I pray that where you need clarity or where you need to clarify, God gives you wisdom, right? I see Takara said, I don't have to expose somebody else to be understood, right? And I pray that where you need to remain silent, God gives you restraint, right? It was no need for me to say anything else that day when that young lady was saying all other things. It was no need to explain the explanation. And I thank God. So pray, ask God to give you restraint. I pray that God protects you from sacrificing another person's dignity to protect your own reputation. Praise Lady said, yes, he does. And I pray that once you've done your part, God gives you peace to release what you cannot control. Put that in the chat. God, give me peace to release what I cannot control. Good morning to you as well, Wanda. All right, so let me go ahead and give you your morning tea with Dr. T challenge. And my question to you is, what has being misunderstood taught you about leadership? What has been misunderstood taught you about leadership? So don't share the situation, just share the lesson, right? And so maybe it's communication, maybe it's humility, maybe it's restraint, maybe it's discernment, perhaps integrity or peace for some of you. Put the word in the comment. What has being misunderstood taught you about leadership? You can put your word in the chat. And if you're realizing nobody prepared me for this part of leadership, right? And this is why for the past couple months now, we've been having these leadership conversations. So if you realize that nobody prepared you for this part of leadership, that's why development matters, right? And inside, I'm telling you, I'm always going to do my part to let you know about the academy. And it's on you to make a decision to get what you need from where you need to get it, right? There you go. Takara said not to take it personal. Yeah, that's it, Takara. That's why I understood when that lady was saying all the things she was saying about you're supposed to care about women, and this has nothing to do with you as a person. This has to do with you and your role, and you not performing, and you're not meeting the expectations, and the residents not getting the care that they need because you're not here, right? So no, I don't. Yeah, not to take it personal. Okay. So I had to make a responsible decision. We have to make responsible decisions for what God has entrusted us with. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that, Takara. And so the academy, we're developing the leader behind the title, right? As well as your mindset. We're working on how you communicate. We're working on your confidence, your leadership, your visibility, and accountability in the academy. And so if you're ready to develop at that level, because it's a different level than Morning Tea with Dr. T. This is the inspiration level, right? The transformation happens in the academy. So if you are seriously ready to develop at that level, you're being called to lead, DM me the word academy, or you can book a consultation at tiffanyharris.net. Now, I will tell you on some of these platforms, if you DM me, especially TT, 9 times out of 10, I will not see it. My TT inbox is so flooded. I'm telling you, I just saw a message yesterday that someone left back in May. Okay, I'm trying to tell you. So it would be better, TT, come over to one of my other platforms and DM me, or just go directly to my website and book a consultation. And we can talk more about what the next level could look like for you. Okay. And so your next level requires a more developed leader. All right. All right, y'all. So tomorrow we're closing this 5-part series, right? So tomorrow's episode 145. And for those of you who are just coming in, if you didn't hear me say this earlier, we over the past couple months, we've been doing a leadership series for Morning Tea with Dr. T. And this is series 2 of the leadership mini series. And in those mini leadership series, there are episodes. And so this was episode 4 of 5 of the mini leadership series. And then tomorrow is episode 5 of 5. And we're going to be talking about how to know when it's time to let go. All right. And so we've been having these conversations because these are things that people don't tell you about leadership, right? People want to be heads of churches and have ministries and organizations and be CEOs and directors and managers and supervisors and assistants and executives, and nobody tells you about this side when you have the nonprofit and you have the board and you have to have conversations and things have to happen. All right. So tomorrow, and we're not only talking about people, please be clear. We're not only talking about people. We're talking about positions. We're talking about opportunities. We're talking about ideas. We're talking about strategies. We're talking about assignments. We're talking about seasons, right? So how do you know whether you're giving up too soon or something has actually run its course? All right. That's tomorrow. Okay. And so listen, you don't always you won't always be understood, but you can always choose integrity. And so listen when you need to listen, own what you need to own, clarify what needs clarification, and know when you've said enough, right? So keep shifting your mindset, keep strengthening your faith, and keep leading with purpose. All right. All right. Let me see. L Bug HZ said, being misunderstood has taught me communication and to grow tough skin. Thank you for sharing that, L Bug HC. Yeah, I'm telling you, some things, you have to remain professional, remain that leader, and you just can't say the things that may run through your head. It's like, oh God, help me, please. And internally, you're praying. I remember it, let me see, how many years ago was this now? I don't know, probably 5 years ago. And at one of my programs, underneath me in my role, I wasn't a director at that time. I was an assistant director. And one of the nurses, they were on the floor saying something inappropriate to one of my residents. And I heard him and I came out of my office immediately. And I said, what did you just say to him, to the resident? And he repeated it as if it was the right thing to say. I said, do you think that's the appropriate way to communicate with him? Y'all, he said to me, yeah, I do. Like, yeah, I do. Tough skin, L Book HC. And so I had to maintain that professionalism in the leadership, and in that leadership role that I had, and not respond the way that the flesh would want to respond. We're human. We have these initial knee-jerk reactions. And so I did, respond professionally and addressed it the way that it should have been handled and addressed, and made decisions that need to happen as a result of that. And so tough skin. Yep. That's good, L Bug. I'm glad you mentioned that. So thank you so much. All right, let me see. Wanda said, I need discernment to make good decisions. Amen. And God will give it to you. God will give it to you. Seek wisdom. Seek wisdom. Yes, he will give you the wisdom and the discernment. All right. And so I thank all of you for being here on today. I look forward to you coming back tomorrow for episode 145. We are concluding this mini leadership series, and then we'll start a new mini leadership series on Wednesday. All right. So listen, exciting news before I go. I have to let you know. So You all, if you've been paying attention and staying close, you've seen that I was teasing and announcing and making you aware that applications were opening soon and more information was coming. And you probably heard me talking about it, about how you can be a co-author in series 3 of We Don't Look Like What We've Been Through. And so this is an anthology for women to be a part of. If you know you have a message, you have a story, you have overcome something, and you know that your story, your message can help other women hope again, to believe again, and help them realize that they can overcome as well, that they can win as well, they can prosper as well. Those applications are opening up today, so stay tuned. A little bit later, you will see a post go up about that. So be sure that you are one of the first ones to apply to be a co-author in series 3 of We Don't Look Like What We've Been Through. So many amazing opportunities. This isn't just about writing a chapter in a book. This is about saving lives through your message, okay? And with this amazing opportunity, ladies, and this is for women all over the world. You do not have to be a member of my women's community, When Women Empower. You do not. All right. So stay tuned, apply, and I look forward to helping you get your message out. That's going to help other individuals. You're going to get mentorship. I'm not going to give it all away. I'll talk to you about it tomorrow, but today, look out for that email and the links and the post where you can apply. All right. Have an amazing day. I appreciate you. Thank you all for being here. Take care.
Our keynote speaker, who is Dr. Tiffany Harris, a devoted wife and mother who wears many hats. She's not just an in-demand, international, award-winning inspirational speaker. She's also a coach, a mindset coach, a mentor, and a 3-time author. She has a growing consulting company called Shift Your Mindset and Dream Big, LLC. That sounds good, doesn't it? With 2 prestigious Changemaker of the Year awards under her belt, she's also a Business Grammy nominee, a Faith Made Millionaire nominee, and an alum of the Ignite Speakers program developed by the one and only Lisa Nichols. Beyond those titles, Dr. Harris is the visionary behind When Women Empower, a global women's membership community. Her mission is to empower individuals worldwide to transform their mindset, allowing them to reach new heights in all aspects of their lives, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. At the core of Dr. Harris's philosophy lies the belief that shifting your mindset can also alter the course of your life. Get ready to soar, scale, and succeed with Dr. Harris leading the way.
Good, everything went well. She spoke well, with intelligence, courage, and she really gave a positive message to all the 8th graders that's about to go to high school now. So they should take that into keep a mental note of that. When they return to school, they'll be fine.
It was a really good and powerful message. Everybody really thought that it was good. I was looking around the room to see how everybody's reaction was, and they had very a strong emotional agreement into the speech. And even my ELA teacher, she was taken aback and she loved it, and I know Miss Newkirk loved it. She doing amazing actually, and the speech was top 10 out of 10.
Dr. Harris's speech was so wonderful. It was so inspirational. I think the children are going to really listen to what she had to say and keep it in their minds while they're going through high school. I know my granddaughter will keep it in mind, and I really was inspired listening to her.
Nice person. She really inspired me, and when she gave us these wristbands, these was thorough, and her favorite, not her favorite color, but she wear a lot of red. Yeah, I like red.
I feel like she was very genuine and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very inspiring. And when she talked about her past, it inspired me to do better. And that's what I just loved about the whole speech and what she brought to the table.